session. I would like to take this opportunity to thank once again our partners, our agenda partner, Pine Labs, banking infrastructure partners, Reka. We have financial inclusion partner, Mathur FinCorp. We have gourmet partner, Payton, and VIP launch partner, Navi Technologies Limited. I would request all the delegates to settle down immediately, take their seats, because our next set of speakers are ready. In fact, we dive into another fireside chat, which is all about the next horizon, where we are building a global-ready, inclusive bank for the future. So the stage is set, and so are we. All right. Let's quickly have all of you settle down. And let's move forward. With that, ladies and gentlemen, GFF 2025 is also a stage for innovation and celebration. Be sure to catch the live investment pitches and the product showcases that are shaping the future of finance. We are also unveiling exclusive industry reports right here at GFF, setting the tone for what's next in fintech. And of course, one of the biggest highlights, the Global Fintech Awards, happening tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Jasmine 3, an evening dedicated to honoring excellence and innovation in our industry. So do mark your calendars and be there at 6 p.m. at Jasmine 3 for the Global Fintech Awards.
And thank you, sir, for being here. You know, the banking system is really in the throes of a transformation, and especially with what RBI has recently done with the spate of reforms and the structural, sort of upgrades, the reforms, the governance, capital strengthening measures that have been put in place over the course of the few years, but really how a legacy institution like yourself is transforming while at the same time, ensuring that you're taking on global competition. That is something we're hoping to cover here in this session. So, Mr. Chand, thank you so much again, and welcome to this session. Let me start by,
Thank you, Ritu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And, let me start by, one of the sort of agenda that you've set for your bank, and that is to double the size of the bank in 5 years. And you said that 2 years back now. So in 3 years, we'll see double the size of Bank of Baroda. That is quite something. Tell us what will drive this kind of fast growth and the role digital will play in it, given that we're here at the Fintech Festival.
Thanks, Ritu, once again. And let me say, when we talked about doubling the balance sheet, we talked about somewhere in July 2023, saying that the bank need to double the balance sheet. Doubling the balance sheet is more of a roadmap, and we said that the doubling is more of a rolling plan. That means when we talked about 2023, 28 over 23, 29 over 24, 30 over 25, in that kind of a number. So when we looked at the 5 years growth prior to that, the CAGR growth of the business was almost at 12%. And in case for next 5 years, we can make the CAGR at 13%, we are almost there at doubling the balance sheet. So it's more of a roadmap that we thought that we need to, some kind of a glide path for the bank, not only me, the entire management, the entire field force. They need to see the goalpost, and that is what a goalpost we set in. But saying so, the way that we are trying to construct the book and the balance sheet, look, we have a significant international presence. And the opportunity for us to grow higher in international is always there. Secondly, we also said that we need to retailize our book more. So if you look at our RAM growth, almost for last many quarters, almost at 18-19%. The retail is growing more than 20% consistently for last 13-14 quarters. So scenario like that, the focus would be more on the retail. Secondly, on the corporate book, we wanted to focus big time with regard to the mid-corporate, the mid-size account. And that gives you a very strong, what you can say, a higher income potential, the collateral coverage and all those things. And on the physical scale, we said in last 1 year itself, we would have opened more than 250 branches now. What is happening on the Indian, although we have a very large rural and semi-urban branches, but on the metro side, a lot of markets are moving to a lot of micro markets where the growth potential is much higher. So we are opening branches in those, so we are expanding in terms of span also. I think adding 1% and digital has been a key enabler as far as the bank concerned. Bank of Baroda has been, I think, right on the curve in terms of the digital adoption. And all this, we are quite hopeful that we can add almost 1 to 1.5% growth. That is what can be extra vis-a-vis the growth we had in the past. And the moment we are there, we are almost at the double the number. So it's a rolling plan. So when we are in 2025, we are talking about 2030 over 25. Moment you get into next year, it will be 31 over 26. So it gives a, what you can say, goalpost for all the field people to look that the bank need to double the balance sheet.
But carrying the weight and the legacy of the institution that you are, over a century old now, just tell us what kind of changes you're pushing into the bank, whether that is cultural or governance, to be able to move at the speed of a startup today, because that's what you have to do if you have to realize some of these ambitions.
Absolutely, you are right on that. Any organization, particularly legacy like us, 118 years. See, one of the key themes behind the legacy organization like us, we are predominantly government owned, that you have the trust and the safety aspect as a fundamental factor while driving business. And it is there for last 118 years and going to be there for many more years from now. At the same time, Bank of Baroda is one bank, whether it is culturally or digitally, we are more agile as compared to what we are in the past. So what I mean by agile, that culturally, suppose I talk about the HR part, we have built in huge capacity within the HR workforce in terms of adapting to changes. Yeah. And where one bank experimented the lateral hire and the internal talent beautifully well, so that we on any business line, we are at the top of the curve. I think culturally, the bank has been quite well positioned to have the best of what you can say, the skill set or the knowledge set. That's important to drive the bank forward. That is point one. Secondly, on the digital architecture, the design has been, thanks to my digital team, we are not in a manner like a waterfall structure. We are more of a agile structure where if there is a changes happening, then the digital system would quite in a position to change to the new architecture that is likely to come. Yeah. So in that way, we encourage more of open banking. We encourage more of agility in terms of the digital design itself. A couple of initiatives wherein, the internet banking or mobile banking are something a very front-facing application vis-a-vis customer. And now both the applications we are trying to have it within us, so that we can design those applications as per our requirement. So in terms of the digital infrastructure and the design, the structures are more agile to look into the changes. In terms of human resources, I think Bank of Baroda lucky to have a kind of a cultural integration in terms of both internal and external working well, and wherever the bank need to hire people to be at the curve, we are hiring people. This something worked very well. Look, around 4-5 years back, Bank of Baroda was the only bank to come out with a shared service company. The shared service company was called BGSS, significantly supporting manpower to the bank. So these are the innovativeness. I think the bank is, even if it has a legacy of 118 years, but the bank is quite as young as like any new entity, and trying to adapt to changes which again the market would like you to change. We always say that while operating model, I need to be relevant for my business, relevant for my structure, relevant to the market. At the same time, whatever dominance we have in the market in terms of a market share of 6%, so I'll not be losing that dominance at all. So we're trying to construct both in terms of creating agility within rather than giving any rigidity to not to change.
But to stay young, to stay relevant, to become agile, what are you doing to adopt some of these newer technologies that are coming into the fore? And every hall here, we're having one or the other conversation about artificial intelligence. Yeah. What is the real use case beyond just chat bots? What is a bank like you doing with AI to strengthen your systems and even on cyber security?
Well, that's very critical when we do have such a huge superstructure of IT. All these aspects are very, very important. Look, the usage of AI as far as the bank is concerned in multiple business lines. And whether it starts with the risk modeling, whether it starts with the fraud risk management, whether it is an underwriting scoring model, the usage has been significant. And it has been there already. And always we treat AI as something to augment rather than supplement something. So AI, the usage of AI within the bank is to augment processes, augment in terms of the ease of doing banking. So a couple of things that we have done significantly in the last 2 years, particularly the AI, particularly on the Gen AI space, wherein we deployed one is a bot called Aditi, who can interact on a live basis with customer to meet the customer service requirement. So as compared to somebody talking to the call center, somebody can interact with Aditi on a live basis and get the services. And recently we deployed a virtual branch in one of our physical branch, where a customer can walk into a small enclosure and interact with the virtual robotic bot and get 18 transactional services over there. So the Aditi that we talked about is that talks about a non-financial service, a robotic bot. But the virtual branch which I am talking about, there somebody can get the transactional rights to do transaction with a human, human-like robotic bot. And that gives something a significant difference therein. The point here is that when we are looking at the new age banking, the entire world is going digital. At that time, we as a bank, while structuring the branch modeling, can you have a hybrid structure wherein you can cater to the requirement of the people who would like to be transacting with you on digital.
Yeah.
At the same time, those set of customer who like physical and they continue to be in the physical banking. So we as a bank on the AI usage has been significant. We always internally when we design our own policy, we always say let us be on the curve or the edge of the curve. Would not like on the technology piece anywhere. Currently, I am spending almost 10% of my operating profit on technology, be it capex or opex. And as a policy, we said if there be need be, we can go up to 15% of the operating profit as an investment in tech space. So we are quite keen that the tech investment should go off, the customer experience should improve, the ease of banking for the customer should improve. At the same time, the quality of life within me, my own banker's friend working in the bank, that should be also made much easier.
Well, that's an interesting concept, a phygital branch, so to speak, for customers that want both the physical experience, sometimes only the digital experience. But, we also have to talk about this global push for banks because you're balancing a lot of things on your plate. On one hand, you're talking about digital, cybersecurity, doubling your balance sheet, your AI adoption, but then you also have to look outward because Indian corporates here are also growing. They're making acquisitions overseas, FDI coming into the country. What are you doing to pivot to serve this global diaspora, and how do some of the recent reforms from RBI, particularly when it comes to M&A financing, for instance, going to aid this transformation?
You said right, Ritu. The fact is that our tagline is India's international bank. So in terms of capacity to grow India internationally, the bank is right there, right? So if you look at the international book, as far as Bank of Baroda is concerned, it almost accounts 16-17% of the global book as the book in international. And 3 years back, this was almost at 12%. So from 12%, we have improved to 16%, and we expect to again cross 20% in a couple of years from now. So in terms of capacity, we do have now 85 branches outside India. So one thing that we are working, a couple of years back, we had 95 branches. We scaled down to 84. We wanted to optimize that. But having done that now, I think Bank of Baroda has the capacity now to expand further. Currently, as on today, we are looking at, a couple of centers overseas to expand. We are looking at a couple of inorganic buy also so that we can scale up. Look, the concept that we are talking about Bank of Baroda International is that, look, India is trying to, internationalize itself more and more. And Bank of Baroda is the right platform for India to internationalize itself, right? So that's something, I think as a structure, we are already there and are going to play a significant role. The second thing, a couple of policy measures that recently announced in terms of merger and acquisition financing. See, globally, we participate in a lot of global syndication market. We are one of the a good approved lender in the global syndication market. And there all these transactions do happen quite regularly, wherein banks coming together as a syndicator to fund debt financing for a merger and acquisition equity finance, right? So ultimately the assets should be there with you in an indirect manner. So I think that's a very good move by India because the more you are getting into, you are getting into more of a mature market. I think all these products which are required for the country has to be there, and this is the right move to have thinking of banks financing the merger and acquisition. Secondly, the bigger theme here, how do you again help Indian corporate for a trade support overseas? And bank like us, we do have large presence, and I think we are working on to how do you increase the trade book so that Indian corporate are more encouraged to have all those trade to other countries. Particularly, I was part of one of the conclave recently, which was a African, how do you convert aid to investment? And Bank of Baroda having large presence in Africa. And I was part of that conversation therein. I think there are a lot of things that you can do vis-a-vis to promote Indians trade outside. Merger of acquisition finance is going to be a significant boost for that. I think as a bank, we are the right platform to make India grow its scale outside India in terms of trade business, in terms of investment, in terms of, talking about internationalizing India more outside India, and that's something which we are quite capable of.
But in three simple points, if you could put it, what would a large-scale, globally competitive Bank of Baroda look like, say, 10 years down the line? And the three things that would be needed right now to make that ambition get realized.
We do have a fair ambition because, see, look, within India, we want to, increase our market share. That's very significant. And, obviously, scale, there are debates happening, but only one thing I can say that as far as Bank of Baroda is concerned, 5 years, we're talking about doubling balance sheet, we are at 27 lakhs, going to be 54 lakhs kind of a number, organic number, which I can say. But one thing that we are completely aligned that how do India can add scale outside India. And we are the right platform for that, actually. We are one bank, other than the largest bank, we are the second bank, having significant business outside India. And there, as a policy, internally, like currently it's 16% of the global book, the international book as a percentage of global book. We intend to go to 25 level in a couple of years' time.
So a quarter of your business is going to come from international banking?
It is going to be in next 3 to 5 years. We are working on that. We are working on how to, that's why I talked about couple of, now we are thinking of expanding overseas. We are looking at inorganic opportunity. I think trade, we are, as a product, we are quite positive.
Okay.
Indian businesses now thinking global now, a lot of conversation happening on that. Now the Indian banks allowed for financing merger and acquisition. A big change in policy is going to help on this. So all these things, I think the bank is quite capable, and rightly so, because we are the India's international bank. And if we do not be on the what you can say, the first mover on this, I think we'll be feeling in our duty on that.
Well, we've spoken about the global trends, but you can't really be a bank of the future unless you cater to these future generations, the younger generations. What are the changing patterns you're seeing with Gen Z and beyond, and how are you adapting at Bob World, for instance? What are the changes, innovations you're bringing about in your own app to cater to the changing needs?
You are right on that. Actually, as I said, when we announced a lot of these digital measures, the idea was how do I cater to the Gen Z customers. And I just tell you one data point saying that many of the metro branches, the pre-COVID and post-COVID, the footfalls have gone down. Why the footfalls have gone down? Because many of the people now completely comfortable doing a digital transaction rather than coming to the branch. So when we experimented hybrid branches, which is in the form of physical branch, and offering, look, on a normal digital transaction through an app, you can do only one transaction. But you can't do multiple. Suppose I want to interact with a call center executive. I want to do a kiosk thing. I want to inquire about product feature. I want to like multiple that physical, the digital space within the physical branch, all these facilities are available. The idea is to again pull the customer again back into the branch. And the moment that somebody comes to a digital portion of a physical branch, all the products and services with the physical is visible to him on the eyes. And he will be enticed to get into proceed further and do a physical transaction also, a physical interaction also. So that's the agility that we want to bring in on the branch structure. Bob World is one of the super app we have, and the customer base is significant. We are coming out with a new version of Bob World maybe in a month time or a month and a half time, which talks about a significant better customer experience while dealing with the app. And it would have better safety feature, better protocols therein. And one big piece in the new version of the Bob World is that we wanted to add a lot of e-commerce into it. So, I mean, suppose you are getting into a UPI app at this point of time. Apart from the UPI, you can do multiple other e-commerce transactions like booking a ticket, going for a movie, multiple aspects.
You want the customer to not leave the app.
You not leave that.
Use everything
So
on
once
the
you get into the app, do everything banking requirement in the app itself. So that's the version 2 of Baroda we're talking about.
You know, has your view on collaboration or partnership with fintechs evolved over time? You've set up your own subsidiary at Bank of Baroda to experiment and bring in, adopt new technology. Do you still feel the same need you did 5 years back to partner with fintechs, or do you think you want to build those capabilities in-house, or perhaps look at some acquisitions rather than collaborations? How has the view changed?
I think a fintech space is a beautiful thing that happened to India and Indian economy. And as on today, if I believe I am using multiple scoring model, underwriting model, multiple digital offering, backend there are a lot of tie-ups already there. As on today, we have 25 odd fintech tie-ups as on today. The digital interaction is 100 plus in different application and platform. So we strongly believe these collaborative efforts have given the right dividend for us, and will continue to continue with the fintech partnership. Okay. At the same time, as you rightly said, we activated a company called BSTL, Baroda Sun Technology. And what are the purpose of this particular company? This typically can behave as a fintech company. It can get into the payment space like any other bank, any other. So look, the Bob is only for customer. But now if you take about any UPI app, they are customer agnostic in the sense that customer can use any bank. So we have two super app now. Bob World is one for the customer, another is a Bob EPA, which again is super app and competing in the market like any other generic UPI app. But here it can acquire both customer and non-customer. So my ability to get non-customer is something key that we understood that the bank must focus on. And maybe at some point of time, this digital asset can be part of the BSTL, the Baroda Sun Technology. This is one. Secondly, a lot of emerging technology, both in terms of fintech and others happening in the market. For that, you need to invest. Either you can, as you rightly said, you can acquire or you can invest. So what we have decided, a lot of emerging technology, I think this entity is the right entity to invest into emerging technology. Create those solution or application for the bank, and that would be deployed. So that my existing bandwidth to support a huge IT is not getting some way compromised because my focus too much on the emerging technology. So we have segregated emerging technology outside the bank. The normal support system should be within the bank. And this entity can really compete with fintech company and create those kind of experience for customer, targeting non-customer equally for them, so that we get the right value and look at the journey of the fintech happening in India. I think as a conglomerate rather. I think I'm on the banking and also I'm on the fintech. Well, so I capture both the world. That is what the thinking, and that is what can give us the right dividend.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about, but before we close the conversation, I do want to touch upon an important subject, and that is sustainability and what you're doing at Bank of Baroda to build more sustainable practices so that ESG, it's not just a checkbox exercise. I mean, take us through some of the measures you've put in place on that front.
I think the bank, one of the core theme for the bank while doing business is to get into the ESG big time, and how do you ensure that you adhere to the ESG. As far as ESG, the S and G part, the banks have been doing since decades and decades and decades. Of late, we focus more on the environmental side. We are one bank. First, when we thought of ESG, we thought, let us come out with a different logo, which again house all ESG piece into a logo as compared to the Bank of Baroda generic logo. So we have a different Earth logo that talks about ESG housing under that particular logo. At the same time, look, we are one of the banks to adopt a ESG policy and announce that to the market publicly. There it talks about getting a net carbon zero by 2057, that is the 150th year of Bank of Baroda Foundation year. At the same time, by 2034, we want have a carbon scope 1 and 2 emission reducing by 75%. We announced a lot of measures within the policy, which is publicly now available therein. At the same time, we have taken renewable sector as a champion sector for the bank, and for last 3 years, I think on the lending side, we have created almost more than $3 billion USD book on the renewable side. In terms of my own internal processes, we have made all our, most of the processes more of a paperless driven approval process so that we are not consuming paper. Many of the buildings have been made green. The usage of the solar tree have been wherever it's possible, we have planted that. Recently, we have come out with a new concept within BKC called Bob Forest.
Bob Forest.
Yeah.
What is that?
So we have 2 buildings in BKC. The other building had bit of space over there. So we have constructed a forest in BKC itself with 100 different varieties of what you can say from the Sahadri range of herbs,
Species
plants,
of plants.
species therein. And it's a beautiful, having something, a forest within BKC itself is so we have created the Bob Forest, going to replicate this in multiple centers across the country now. So on the ESG is the core theme of the bank, and we think that gives us the right capital in terms of, look, all this financial part is something which are captured in terms of numbers, but ESG is something yet to be captured as a number.
Yeah.
We have started documenting all these numbers to create a book. We have been rated on the ESG now. Our rating is strong now.
Yeah.
So I think, and we have a couple of international lines to support the ESG activity within India. So I think the bank is quite aligned in terms of how do you construct the ESG. What do you mean to say? Sustainable business that talks about process, practices, everything together. At the same time, driving the doubling balance sheet that we are talking about.
Well, I can tell that with the level of enthusiasm you've shown answering this particular question compared to everything else we've been talking about, just the last few minutes. So if I may take the liberty of doing a quick rapid fire with you to get some more points out and, just one word answers, Mr. Chand. One fintech or fintech trend that genuinely excites you right now?
See, I'm very fond of India getting a global payment space, and UPI is something a game changer whenever I travel abroad.
Okay.
And with the regulator, they are so fond of this UPI. So with this now, the UPI, the scope of UPI can go beyond transaction and get, now today we have announced the settlement system here.
Yeah.
Where again, the foreign settlement can happen instantly. So there are a lot of other payment space which I think there are work going on therein, and I think that's really exciting to get a real usage of blockchain, everything on the payment space.
Okay.
That would significantly reduce the, what you can say, the manpower requirement, at the same time improve efficiency.
What will the future of money look like? Will it be completely cashless? Will it be wallets? Will it be crypto or something else?
I'm fond of CBDC.
CBDC,
I have multiple times I said that CBDC is going to be the game changer.
Okay.
And in one of the conversations I said, like when the UPI first came in, people said that I'm able to do a transaction by credit, why should I make a debit therein? But the sheer ease of doing transaction pulled everybody into UPI. Similarly, I think CBDC is going to be the game changer. We also have a couple of announcement in the global FinFest itself.
Which we'll wait to hear.
Yeah, and I think the CBDC is going to be a game changer, and we as a bank anchoring with the Reserve Bank of India can drive strongly on the CBDC.
When was the last time you used cash?
Oh. Recently I traveled somewhere, so I had to withdraw cash because, cashless and cash both has to go simultaneously. You can't completely do away with cash. So cash is a requirement, but it's not significant as far as I know. One
big regulatory change that will move the needle on financial inclusion.
Financial inclusion, look, again, when we structure Bank of Baroda, they are in the mass market and also in the premium market. Only on financial inclusion, I tell you, I do have a BC points, almost 45,000 BC agents now. My market share is 6%, but my share in the Jan Dhan account is 18%. I have 7.5 crore of customers Jan Dhan account with me. The deposit in all the 7.5 crore of Jan Dhan account is 44,000 crore. So I think financial inclusion has really, when we operate as a bank, because we are a universal bank, we need to be in all segments of the market. So actually, one of the growth model, the business engine or the rule engine for the bank is to how do you make strategic business unit who focus on their own area of activity, and financial inclusion, the team is driving very strong, and we are quite, what you can say, ahead of the curve in terms of financial inclusion initiative.
Okay, what is the single biggest misconception outsiders may have about public sector banks today?
I don't think there is a misconception therein, but normally when I interact with people, my own relatives, sometimes they feel that suppose they get into a branch, how they would be received by the branch. And I think that's a complete misconception, because the services in branches, you can't differentiate any bank for the matter. Rather, I would put public sector banks, because of the customer service initiative that we are running, they would be better than others. Well, so this misconception has to go, saying that suppose he walks into a public sector bank, any customer, small customer, the service, there can be a differential between bank X or bank Y. Now the service
Are
have
at
been
par.
standardized, or rather better, I would put it, rather it would be any inferior.
A banking practice you think will not exist in 5 years from now?
Look at the small value, see, we are running a digital lending book. The book is almost now 40,000 crore.
Yeah.
And here, a small ticket like personal loan. Earlier, people used to walk into a branch to get a personal loan. Now they are not required to go. So in terms of small ticket transaction, although banks would go more and more retail, but within the retail also, there would be a segment of the market where completely it would be digital. So there, you do not need to go to the branch. In that way, the banking would be more and more, what you can say, slightly wholesale, although the service you would get.
Okay.
But to a branch banking, you'll be more wholesale. So I think that can be a change that can come to India.
Okay, finally, the last question. What is the one thing in, or rather, what is one thing in technology that can never replace, in banking?
So banking is a technology driven because whatever we do, my co-banking would continue as it is because that's the powerhouse.
Okay.
So what you can develop or innovate is on the peripheral to the co-banking, right? And that is what happening actually, all these application, whatever fintech, everything, that is only to supplement or augment a part of the workforce, a part of the process, which was earlier manual, now going to be digital. But the core banking cannot be replaced actually globally also anywhere. Core banking has to be robust. We need to invest more time to understand core banking and how do you again build in analytics on that. And now DPDP Act is coming. It will be much more important for a bank like us to see that we strictly comply to the DPDP Act, at the same time store the data in a manner which talks about safety, security, and it brings trust.
Well, on that note, Mr. Chand, thank you. It was fabulous speaking with you, and thank you for being so candid with us. And thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. A big round of applause for Mr. Chand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ritu, and thank you, Dr. Chand. I think that was truly a seamless conversation. We really loved the rapid fire round as well. Request you to just come together for a quick photo that we'd like to capture at this point in time. But truly enjoyed this conversation, and I think some really good takeaways from this conversation as well. Thank you so much once again. Thank you for being part of GFF 2025. Thank you.